Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to The Success. Where do Americans get financial advice? Merrill Lynch, CNBC, or Robert T. Kiyosaki? If you don't know who Robert T. Kiyosaki is, well, you can find him at the top of a many bestsellers list. He is currently #1 on the New York Times paperback advice chart, a list that has been going on for astonishing 98 weeks. Spin-offs including Rich Dad's Guide to Investing and Rich Kid, Smart Kid also seem to be selling. Obviously, there are many advice books on the market, financially focused and otherwise, but only a handful turn into franchises. So why this one? Interestingly, Rich Dad Poor Dad was originally self-published in 1997. As Kiyosaki worked with Seminarch Circuit, he sold enough books to get the attention of Warner Business Books, a major publisher with better distribution. The new edition has sold more than 2 million copies since May 2000 in the United States alone. It's also been translated into other languages and has probably sold 5 times that amount worldwide. The apparently charming Kiyosaki seems to be his own best sales weapon, and has, of course, appeared on Oprah. Today, we're taking a look at 6 reasons why Rich Dad Poor Dad sold $100 million worth of copies. But guys, before we start, I'd want you to hit that red subscribe button to enter our monthly shout-out giveaway. Just comment down below saying I subscribed and we'll enter you into the giveaway. Number 1. A good chunk of what's actually in the book is self-help boilerplate. First, there's the mandatory declaration that it isn't a get-rich-quick book. Second, there's a repeated claim that the rich have secrets that led to their success and will herein be revealed. Third, the material is presented as a series of lessons. And fourth, those lessons are positioned as being counterintuitive revelations that effectively undercut various popular myths. The book's back cover promises, among other things, that it will explode the myth that you need to earn a high income to be rich. Number 2, to generate the word of mouth that turns an advice book into a phenomenon, you need a gimmick, and Kiyosaki's can be found in the title. Growing up in Hawaii in the 1950s, he writes, he had 2 fathers, each with a very different attitude about money. The book was written with Sharon L. Letcher, but is told entirely from Kiyosaki's first-person point of view. Eventually, he makes it clear that Poor Dad is his actual father, an educator who worked like a dog all his life and basically ended up broke. Then there was his buddy, Mike's father, a shrewd entrepreneurial sort who eventually built an empire and became one of the richest men in Hawaii via his keen understanding of money. Number 3. Rich Dad, the man Kiyosaki says he decided at age of 9 to emulate, and it worked. Today, Kiyosaki says he's a rich man himself, all because of the wisdom of Rich Dad, here boiled down to 6 easy lessons. Kiyosaki periodically interrupts his disjointed narrative to complain that American schools do a bad job of teaching elementary personal finance, and positions himself as a socially responsible teacher who is deeply concerned with the widening gap between the haves and have-nots. This is pretty much the ideal package, the fable-like presentation of a personal success story wrapped in the mantle of education. The parable format is particularly popular these days and has helped other books like Who Moved My Cheese and Fish. The twist in this case is the blurring of parable and what appears to be an autobiography. It's Kiyosaki's accessible, unpretentious storytelling spiked with mind-over-money tips about avoiding credit card debt and the like that makes people buzz about the book. The no-nonsense pose is apparently convincing enough to blot out the nonsense. Number 4. Rich Dad's running theme is that you'll never get rich by chasing a higher salary. Apparently, the Protestant work ethic is for suckers. What you need to do is concentrate your efforts on only buying income-generating assets, such as, it turns out that whenever Kiyosaki offers an example from his life, it almost invariably involves real estate speculation. It's hard to judge the veracity of his not very specific claims on this front, and as far as I can tell, press scrutiny of Kiyosaki to date has been limited to bland interviews or face value restatements of his book's themes. I did not come across a long and withering critique by a real estate writer named John T. Reed. He questions, among other things, whether Rich Dad even exists. Not surprisingly, the sunny cover blurbs make no mention of flipping distressed properties for big bucks, since even the last sophisticated book buyer would tend to be skeptical about yet another run at this familiar get-rich-quick scheme. Number 5. To pad out the real estate anecdotes, Kiyosaki repeatedly plugs further learning through more books, audio tapes, courses, and seminars. "I am wealthy and free from needing a job simply because of the courses I took," he announces. You'll be pleased to hear then that Kiyosaki himself is doing his part to help the have-nots with events like a $5,000 a person 3-day program in Phoenix this weekend. The book also touts a board game that he sells through infomercials, which in turn plug the book. However much money Kiyosaki did or didn't make in the past, he's making a fortune by selling the idea that he holds the key to your financial future. In one of the many logically creative passages late in the book, he raises the astonishing idea that Americans don't spend enough time trying to emulate the successful. There's just not enough hero worship out there. "It's one of the most powerful ways we learn that we often lose as adults," he writes. "We lose our heroes, we lose our naivete. If there's better proof of how wrong this is than the success of Rich Dad Poor Dad, I can't think of it." Number 6. Kiyosaki's presentation of himself to the audience is the biggest factor of his books becoming a bestseller. He created an image of himself that attracted the audience in the first place. This further made sure that whatever he says in the book makes the reader think is absolutely correct. We say this because Rich Dad Poor Dad has been criticized over the years by the industry experts, people who know about finance and entrepreneurship and everything related to it. However, due to the great presentation of himself to the readers, the book indeed became a bestseller. The book was originally self-published in 1997 before being picked up commercially to become a New York Times bestseller. It has since sold over 32 million copies and become a household name. In his audiobook, Choose to Be Rich, Kiyosaki said that every publisher turned him down, and Barnes & Noble refused to stock the book initially. He places his focus upon talk shows and radio show appearances, of which the Oprah Winfrey Show had the biggest influence on book sales. On April 2017, a 20th anniversary edition of Rich Dad Poor Dad was published, and in a preface to this 20th anniversary edition, Robert Kiyosaki asserts that an estimated 40 million copies of the book had been sold worldwide. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also guys, please pick one of the 2 videos you're seeing on screen right now to have a look at. It really does help us out. With that being said, I'll see you in our next video.